Hey guys, this is Adam Doctor. I wanted to do a video about investing, specifically single family versus multifamily investing. I have a little bit of experience with this. I own a 3-unit building. I have a triplex in Fort Lauderdale that I invested in and very successful with it. So I kind of wanted to go over some of the facts about single family and multifamily investing, the positives and negatives. And really the difference between a single family house or multifamily house is the amount of doors, typically speaking, or let's say units. A single family house, it's just one house. You have one door, as we say. If you buy a duplex, you have two doors. You have 2 units. A triplex, you got 3 doors, 3 units. And a quadruplex, 4-door, 4 units. Once you go above 4 units, you're now in a commercial setting because 5 and up is a commercial transaction. It's going to need a commercial loan. So 2 to 4 units you can do with FHAs, VAs, conventionals. So typically single family homes are a lot of fix and flip type situations or long-term tenancy. Multifamily is typically you don't see people fixing those up and flipping them. Well, typically fix them up and put tenants in there for long term due to the fact that you have no governing body. When you own a multifamily, you can do short-term rentals out of there if you like. That's what I do. The positives of single family ownership is it's more affordable. The financing options are easier, and you can be more selective about your tenants because you only have one unit. So typically it's less expensive to purchase, and there's a larger selection of single family homes, and they're typically less expensive as well because you're only purchasing one property, one unit. When you have a single family, the positive of single family is that you can be more selective about your tenants. You're going to have only one door to fill. One person is going to live there, or maybe a family, but it's just one house that you're going to fill, and you could be very selective about who you let in there versus if you had a 5-unit building, you would not be able to be that selective because you have 5 units you need to fill, so you have to be very lenient. Anyways, there's much less turnover with a single family house, and typically someone's going to put a tenant in there. It's going to be 1 year. If you did short-term rentals, Airbnbs, and let's say you did 30-day minimums, you would only have to lease it 12 times a year or less. If you have, let's say, a triplex, you're going to have to rent that 3 times a year versus 1 time a year if you're doing long-term, right? Because a house, 1 person, done. A triplex, you got to deal with 3 people. And then if you did short-term rentals, 30-day minimums, that's 36 times per year. So is a much more time filling those duplexes and triplexes versus a single family home, less turnover. Another positive about a single family house, it's easier to sell. Depending on the location, obviously eastern locations close to the water would be easy to sell for a duplex or a house. But there's going to always be a larger demand for a single family home, all types of buyers for that type of product. Younger people want to get out of apartments and start their homes, start their families, people raising families, the duplex, triplexes, quadruplexes, it's very specific. It's going to be an investor most of the time, 95% of the time. Or someone like me, who I was renting a 1-bedroom and I bought a triplex, moved into one of the units and renovating them all and turning them into a business and moved out of them. So that's a smaller niche. So a single family house will have a larger pool and it'll be easier to sell. The financing options with a single family house is also easier as well. There's typically when people buy single family homes, they do 3% down, they do 5% down, 10% down, 20% down. The multifamily properties are typically not that low. If you buy a duplex, it's going to be 15% down, triplex 25% down, same with quad. Unless you do an FHA loan, 3.5% down, but you have to move into it. So the financing options for single family homes are much easier and less down payments. It's also going to be much less maintenance with a single family house. You got one house. Typically it's one water heater, one air conditioning, one toilet. Well, more than one toilet, but you get my point. With a duplex or triplex, if you have a triplex, you got 3 water heaters. You got 3 air conditioning. You got 3 of everything. So there's much less maintenance with a single family house. The negatives of single family investing is there's going to be less cash flow. You have one door. So if there's a vacancy there, that could be problematic. There are real costs involved with owning a property, from mortgages, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and there's only one stream of income with a single family house. Vacancies are costly. If you only have a house and it's empty, that's all you have. Let's say you have a triplex and one of the units are empty and the other 2 are full. You're still most likely covering your carrying costs, and if you're paid cash, then you're beyond that and making money, positive cash flow. Having a single family house is definitely more challenging to scale. Once you buy a multifamily property, so for instance a triplex, instantly you have a portfolio, and if you try to buy 3 homes, you got 3 closings, three separate closing costs, commissions. With a multifamily property, you automatically have a portfolio. You're buying in bulk, basically. Let's talk about the positives of multifamily investing. Jumping into a multifamily property gives you an instant portfolio. Multiple streams of income are great. It does come with the added work. Buying in bulk will always get you a better deal. If you purchase 3 condos versus 3 units in a multifamily property, you're better off purchasing the multifamily property. You just purchase in bulk. Then also another positive thing is cash flow and more leverage. The more cash flow you have, the better the cushion. If you have repairs on your property, having multiple doors, throwing off cash, you will have some cushion there to be able to fix up the property. At least I do, if you run it right. Also, with the good rent roll and proven income on the property, you can put yourself in better position to leverage more money in the future. There is better property appreciation. When you have multiple units, you can increase appreciation faster by increasing the quality of all the units. It's going to force appreciation throughout the building. Also, the quality of the property increases. When you increase the quality of the property, you can increase the rent. So if you're dealing with properties that have window ACs, I call them wall bangers, and you take those off and you do mini splits, or even if you run HVAC system throughout, you have just made the property better, and you could most likely increase the rents. Also, impact windows. So you go from jalousie to impact windows. You paint the building. You do landscaping. You're going to be able to increase the cash flow of that multifamily property by 3, right? 3 units. We're talking about a triplex. Another positive is tax shelter. Multifamily property gives you the ability to write off more things. So if you just have a house and you're going to write things off for just that one property. But if you have a triplex, you have 3 units. You have 3 opportunities for a tax shelter for write-offs. I won't go into detail on that on this video. Let's talk about some of the negatives of multifamily investing. Keeping units filled is critical. Being very selective is challenging with multifamily property. Leniency is key to consistent cash flow, especially if you're doing short-term rentals. Difficulty with financing. Multifamily properties typically require a much larger down payment, 15 to 25% versus 3% down, 5% down. If you buy a multifamily property, there's a good chance you're going to be relying on others a lot more. So for instance, if you buy a duplex, you get 2 units, not a big deal, but you start acquiring more portfolio and you end up having a triplex and a quadruplex and you pick up another duplex, you're going to need a property manager most likely, or it's going to be a full-time job for you. At the end of the day, investing in real estate is a great way to build your wealth over time. you may decide to try both properties. You may pick up a triplex and then pick up another cool house that's in a good location that you think is beneficial. If you need some real estate advice, please contact me. I could definitely tell you what areas would be beneficial to own multifamily in versus single family, and what areas be better to own single family in versus multifamily. I consider myself to be a real estate advisor. I've done hundreds of transactions over the years. I also own a triplex. I do short-term rentals, spreadsheets, cap rates, forecasting vacation rentals. Please think of me if you need some help. Thanks.